as you may have noticed, I haven't done that many videos this week. I've been very busy, but I did want to get around to doing several videos about this Kell Brook Gennady Golovkin fight. I wanted to do a weigh-in reaction and also final thoughts. The weigh-in reaction is obviously too late now because we're literally minutes away from the fight, but I am going to give my final thoughts right now. Now, Kell Brook has looked extremely energized in the build up to this fight, including at the weigh-in, far more energized than I've ever seen him before. And that's obviously to do with the fact that he's not as depleted weighing in at 160 pounds as he was weighing in at 147 pounds. He's definitely got way more energy. What he can do with that energy, how good he can be with that extra energy, we just don't know, and we're going to find out in a few short minutes. But if he uses it correctly, it will be an advantage. What he mustn't do, obviously, is to get overconfident. I mean, Golovkin is the last person you want to get overconfident against. But with the crowd behind Kell Brook and as hyper as he feels and as energetic as he feels, you never know. Maybe he will get overconfident if he's having his way, perhaps in the early rounds, outboxing Golovkin. Now, Golovkin looked a bit gaunt, some people say, at the weigh-in. I did see the weigh-in myself, but I'm just going to give some reflection of how a lot of people are feeling who watched the weigh-in. They said that he looked gaunt. There's rumors going around that he has been ill in the build-up to the fight. There's also the fact that he flew into the UK only 6 days before the fight, and I questioned that. I thought, is that really wise? But he's a very experienced fighter. He was an international amateur. He's fought in many different countries around the world as a professional as well. So you would imagine that he knows what he's doing, and that 6 days really is fine for him. But if you combine 6 days with a possible illness and also the fact that Golovkin and his team have been talking about who they're going to fight after Kell Brook, when you combine all those factors together, you start to see that maybe there's a recipe there. Maybe those are telltale signs, warning signs of one of these monumental upsets that we do get in boxing from time to time. And when I'm talking monumental, I'm talking about Tyson versus Buster Douglas, which is the biggest upset I've ever seen. Buster Douglas was a journeyman. He wasn't like Kell Brook. Even though Kell Brook's moving up 2 weight divisions, Kell Brook is an elite level fighter. Buster Douglas was not an elite level fighter. He was viewed as a journeyman. That fight, in that fight, Buster Douglas was a 42-1 underdog. Kell Brook is nowhere near 42-1, to win against Gennady Golovkin. Even when Holyfield fought Tyson, Holyfield was like, I can't remember the exact odds off the top of my head, but they were ridiculous. They were like 17-1, 20-1, something like that. So it certainly wouldn't be the biggest upset ever if Kell Brook was to beat Golovkin. And under these particular circumstances, there are certain warning signs that I have noticed which correlate with the build up to other big upsets that I've seen in my time following the sport of boxing. However, that don't mean that an upset is going to manifest. I'm still picking Golovkin to win the fight. However, given the fact that we don't know what Kell Brook's going to be like at middleweight, we don't know how fast he's going to be, we don't know how energetic and strong he's going to be at middleweight, maybe he'll be able to raise his game to a level that we've never seen before, far beyond anything we expected, and therefore be able to nullify what Golovkin can do. And maybe take a decision, maybe win the fight one way or another. It was interesting listening to a lot of the boxers who have been giving their predictions. The vast majority of them are picking Golovkin to win, obviously, including Matthew Macklin. But there are a couple that are picking Kell Brook. Prince Nassim is obviously from the same gym as Kell Brook, and he's known Kell Brook since Brook was a little kid. Prince Nassim is picking Kell Brook by 11th round stoppage. But Prince Nassim said that if Kell Brook don't hurt Golovkin and get his respect early, then he's in big trouble. And I definitely agree with that. Brook has to get Golovkin's respect early. And if he does get his respect early, Golovkin is not like a Brandon Rios or Antonio Margarito type fighter who will keep walking forward regardless of what you're hitting him with, as long as there's some mustard on your punches. If you go watch Golovkin, I know it's too late now, people, but if you do go watch or rewatch Golovkin against Curtis Stevens, for example, in the first round and 3/4, Curtis Stevens hit Golovkin with some fairly solid shots, and Golovkin voluntarily backed up. So he's not like a Margarito or in his prime, Margarito in his prime, or certainly Brenner Rios, these were guys who would never voluntarily back up. Even Mike Tyson in his prime, he would never voluntarily back up. You would have to literally shove Mike Tyson back to make him go backwards. He would never go backwards of his own accord. It don't matter what you hit him with, he keep coming forward. Go watch the fights that he had with Razor Ruddock, a big puncher. Tyson kept coming forward, even though he was getting hit very hard by a very big puncher. Golovkin's not like that. If Golovkin feels that there's some mustard on your shots, as I saw in the Curtis Stevens fight, he will back up of his own accord and try and reassess the situation. He's a bit more cerebral than some of these other pressure fighters, and that's good in some, some aspects, but that's also bad in a certain sense as well, because it gives the opponent time to breathe. And what he mustn't do against somebody like Kell Brook, who is going to be the fastest, maybe the most accurate fighter he's ever fought, is he can't give him time to breathe. He has to be on top of him all the time and making the ring feel very small. I rewatched the Daniel Gill fight, and although Gill got knocked out pretty badly in that fight, in the first couple rounds, Gill was, in my opinion, giving Golovkin some trouble with his movement. But Gill has got like this Energizer Bunny, herky-jerky foot movement where he's all over the place and he's moving his upper body as well. And he made Golovkin miss a lot in that fight. You go watch the Daniel Gill fight, Golovkin missed a lot. Even Max Kellerman, the HBO commentator, mentioned it at the time. Can Kell Brook replicate that kind of herky-jerky movement and add his accuracy, sharpness, punching power, and extra speed into that mix and do better than Daniel Gill did? And be more effective in getting his shots off and maybe stinging Golovkin? We'll see. Another person who picked Kell Brook to win was John Molina, which was interesting. John Molina Jr., who fought Adrian Broner, he fought Lucas Matisse, and he also fought Ruslan Chagayev most recently. He's picking Kell Brook outright to win, and so is his trainer Shadid Saluki. To me, that was interesting. And they were very impressed, apparently, with Kell Brook when he went in to spar John Molina some time ago. They said he came in at 185 pounds, and they were very, very impressed with him. So, it would be better if we could, it would be better if John Molina had also sparred Golovkin. Then we'd, be able to assess more whether what Molina's saying is realistic. So, we don't know. Anyway, the fight's about to start in a few minutes. Those are my final thoughts. I'm still picking Golovkin, but given the circumstances with the illness that Golovkin may or may not have, I don't know, there's possible jet lag there, fighting in front of a new crowd and a new environment, overlooking, talking about who he's going to fight after Kell Brook. When you put all those circumstances into the pot, all those factors into the pot, you start to recognize what has gone on in the past before big upsets. And you see these kind of things happening before those fights. So given that, it wouldn't shock me if Kell Brook was to beat Golovkin under these circumstances. It would surprise me still. I'm definitely not expecting it, but it wouldn't shock me. I've definitely seen bigger upsets than if Kell Brook beat Golovkin. It wouldn't shock me the way that Carl Froch having a nose job shocked me. Put it that way. So those are my final thoughts, people. Let me know how you feel in the comment section below. And yes, over the next few days, you can expect a hell of a lot more uploads from me. So, including obviously post-fights and whatnot for tonight. So enjoy the fight, people, and I'll see you on the other side. Drop your comments below. It's your boy Hatman. I'm out.